Vallejo Police Department.
I want to report a double murder.
Yeah, yes, your
Go
name
1
and where
mile
you're calling.
east on Columbus Parkway, Public Park. You'll find kids in a brown car. They were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year. Goodbye.
Who is the Zodiac Killer? The self-proclaimed Zodiac Killer remains one of the most infamous and mysterious serial killers. Is directly linked to at least 5 murders in Northern California in 1968 and 1969, with 2 other victims surviving, despite serious injuries. However, he might have been responsible for more killings. He taunted police and made threats through letters sent to area newspapers from 1969 to 1974, before abruptly ceasing communication. Through that correspondence, he claimed to have killed as many as 37 people. Despite intensive investigations and multiple theories pertaining to the killer's identity, no one was ever caught for the crimes, and the case remains open. On August 1, 1969, the San Francisco Examiner, San Francisco Chronicle, and Vallejo Times-Herald each received an identical, handwritten letter in an envelope without a return address. Beginning. Dear Editor, I am the killer of the 2 teenagers, last Christmas, at Lake Herman. The letters contained details from the Zodiac Killer's murders that only the perpetrator could have known. The killer went on to threaten further attacks if the letters weren't printed on the front page of the papers. Each letter closed with a symbol consisting of a circle with a cross through it, in what would come to be known as their Zodiac Killer's symbol. The letters were also each accompanied by one part of a 3-part cipher that he claimed contained his identity. While Bay Area police departments, with the support of the FBI, worked feverishly to track down the killer, another letter soon arrived at the San Francisco Examiner. Beginning. Dear Editor, this is the Zodiac speaking. It also described the murders in detail, and taunted police for not having been able to crack his code or catch him. Several days later, high school teacher Donald Harden and his wife, Betty, were able to solve the cipher. I like killing people because it is so much fun, it read. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. The Zodiac Killer continued his taunting correspondence with Bay Area papers, in which he included more ciphers, claimed to have committed several more murders, and mocked the police for their inability to catch him. In 1974, the letters stopped, though the investigation continues to this day. 4 separate attacks involving 7 people have been definitively attributed to the Zodiac Killer. The first confirmed incident took place on the night of December 20, 1968, when 17-year-old David Faraday and his 16-year-old girlfriend, Betty Lou Jensen, were shot to death near their car at a remote spot on Lake Herman Road, on the outskirts of Vallejo, California. Police were baffled, unable to determine the motive for the crime or a suspect. Early in the morning of July 5, 1969, Darlene Ferrin, age 22, and her boyfriend, Mike Madge, age 19, were sitting in parked car in a similarly remote Vallejo location when they were approached by a man with a flashlight. The figure fired multiple shots at them, killing Ferrin and seriously wounding Madge. Within an hour of the incident, a man called the Vallejo Police Department, giving them the location of the crime scene, and claiming responsibility for both that attack and the 1968 murders of Faraday and Jensen. Despite evidence that included fingerprints, Madge's description, the decoded cipher, and a wave of tips and leads, police were unable to track down the Zodiac Killer. On the evening of September 27, 1969, he struck again, approaching young couple Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell. as they relaxed on an isolated part of the shore of Lake Berryessa in Napa County. Wearing a hood and a shirt bearing a circle cross symbol, he tied them up before brutally stabbing them, scrawling a message for police on their car door, and leaving the scene. He then called the Napa Police Department to claim responsibility. Shepard and Hartnell were both in critical condition but alive when emergency services arrived. However, Shepard died of her wounds shortly after that. 2 weeks later, on October 11, 1969, the Zodiac claimed another life, shooting 29-year-old taxi driver Paul Stine in San Francisco's Presidio Heights neighborhood. As the murder didn't seem to fit the Zodiac's pattern, it was initially deemed a robbery, until the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter claiming the crime. At least 5 other murders have been tentatively linked to the Zodiac Killer, including the 1963 shooting of Robert Domingos and Linda Edwards near Santa Barbara, California, and the 1966 stabbing death of college student Cherry Jo Bates in Riverside, California. With descriptions from witnesses who had seen a man leaving the scene of Paul Stine's 1969 murder, police were able to create and circulate a composite sketch of the killer. But, despite mounting evidence and the investigation of numerous suspects, their Zodiac remained at large. More than 5 decades after the Faraday-Jensen murders, no suspect has ever been arrested. The inability to identify the Zodiac Killer has continued to frustrate law enforcement. The mystery surrounding the Zodiac case also continues to fascinate the public, and has inspired more than its fair share of theories regarding the killer's identity. Ranging from plausible to absurd, these include the claims that he was Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, or convicted murderer Charles Manson, or that he eventually moved to Scotland and committed more murders there before finding happiness and giving up his wicked ways. Some other theories include true crime author and former San Francisco Chronicle cartoonist Robert Graysmith wrote 2 separate works on the killer, 1986's Zodiac and 2002's Zodiac Unmasked, ultimately identifying a man named Arthur Lee Allen as the most likely suspect. Allen died in 1992, however, and was never conclusively connected to any of the murders. However, DNA evidence later ruled him out. In 2014, HarperCollins published The Most Dangerous Animal of All by Gary L. Stewart, in which he claims that his father, Earl Van Best Jr., who bears a strong resemblance to the man in the police sketch, was the Zodiac Killer. Another man came forward in 2014 to reveal that a friend named Louis Myers had confessed to being the killer before his death in 2002. Certain events in Myers' history matched up with those connected to the Zodiac, but as with Allen and Van Best, there was no conclusive proof. Another suspect, Richard Gaikowski, was a journalist who worked for a San Francisco newspaper that received Zodiac letters. Some believe his writing style matched the Zodiac's. In 2002, DNA from a stamp on one of the Zodiac's letters was compared to a sample from Allen, but it did not match. The Zodiac's fingerprints, found on Paul Stine's cab, have never been definitively matched to any suspect. Some believe the Zodiac Killer was a member of law enforcement, which would explain his ability to evade capture. A popular theory suggests the Zodiac Killer may have had an accomplice, which could explain the varying descriptions of the suspect. Some theorists propose that the Zodiac Killer moved to another state or country, continuing his crimes elsewhere. Despite the passage of time, many aspects of the Zodiac Killer case remain unsolved, keeping the public's interest alive. The Zodiac's true identity is still unknown, despite numerous suspects and extensive investigations. The Zodiac Killer's name comes from a series of cryptic letters and ciphers he sent to local newspapers, in which he referred to himself as Zodiac. In his letters, he often included a crosshair-like symbol, which became his signature. One of the most famous ciphers, known as the 340 cipher, remained unsolved for over 50 years until it was cracked, in December 2020 by a team of amateur codebreakers. The Zodiac's letters often included details about the crimes that only the killer would know, adding credibility to his claims. Several of the Zodiac's ciphers remain unsolved, including the Z13 and Z32 cipher. The motive behind the Zodiac's killings has never been definitively determined. Advancements in technology and forensic science have provided new avenues for investigating the Zodiac Killer case, offering hope that it may one day be solved. In 2018, a group of cold case investigators claimed to have identified the Zodiac Killer as Gary Francis Post, but this theory remains unproven. The FBI and local law enforcement agencies continue to receive tips and leads about the Zodiac Killer, keeping the investigation active. The case has raised awareness about the importance of preserving evidence, as advancements in technology may one day solve even the coldest cases. The Zodiac Killer's ability to evade capture has led to changes in investigative techniques and the development of new forensic methods. The mystery surrounding the Zodiac's identity and motives keeps people intrigued and invested in the case. The enduring fascination with the Zodiac Killer case ensures that it will remain a topic of interest and investigation for years to come. The Zodiac Killer remains one of the most mysterious and infamous criminals in history. Despite numerous theories and suspects, the true identity of this serial killer has never been confirmed. The cryptic messages, taunting letters, and unsolved murders continue to fascinate and frustrate both amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike. Each fact about the Zodiac Killer adds another layer to this complex puzzle, keeping the public's interest alive. Whether you're a true crime enthusiast or just curious about unsolved mysteries, the Zodiac Killer's story is a chilling reminder of how some questions may never find answers. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and maybe one day, the truth will finally come to light. The Zodiac Killer has left an indelible mark on popular culture, inspiring books, movies, and countless theories.
Talk to us. Just tell us what's going on inside you right now, Sam, please.
I have headache.
Right. How long have you had those headaches, Sam? Been a long time?
Since I killed a kid.
Well, was it before December that you had the headaches?
Yes.